Hi, I'm Wyatt, and welcome to Gear Branch Library's Imagination Seeds. This seed is about animals and stories. Our first story is Little Red Riding Hood. It's about the adventure a young girl has while trying to visit her grandmother. The young girl was called Little Red Riding Hood because of the bright red color of the cloak and hood that she wore when she went on adventures. Little Red Riding Hood wanted to visit her grandmother, who lived in the woods. The big bad wolf, who also lived in the woods, followed Little Red Riding Hood and caused all sorts of trouble on her visit with her grandmother. Little Red Riding Hood was visiting her grandmother to bring her special treats that she made. What recipe would you make for your family? This recipe is Jody's famous peanut butter cookies. Have your grown-up help you make these if you're interested. And also, think of some recipes that you'd love to make with your family. Make them for a special friend or a family member. Beatrix Potter is an author that loved writing stories about the kinds of animals that she saw in her garden. Her animals could talk, have tea parties, and wear clothes. That also means that they could get into trouble, like poor Peter Rabbit often does. Jemima Puddle Duck also gets into lots of trouble because she is a vain and silly duck. She isn't very good at listening to what others have to say. Old Farmer McGregor's farm is nearby, where the animals live. Sometimes the rabbits and other creatures are naughty and try to eat out of his vegetable patch without asking him. And sometimes the rabbits and other creatures meet his cats. What animals do you see in your outdoors? Do you see rabbits, birds, insects? Learn more about those with field guides available on Hoopla or at your library. What sounds do animals make when they talk to each other? Listen while you're outside and try to identify which animal is which. You can also make up a fairy tale about an animal's house. Where do you think they live? Fables are a kind of short story that have a special lesson. Aesop was a writer who wrote lots of fables to teach his students. The Tortoise and the Hare is a fable. We learn that slow and steady wins the race, and not to be overconfident. The Goose that laid the golden egg is a fable. It's about the owner of a goose that isn't very patient and makes a hasty decision instead of thinking through the consequences. Sometimes you hear a fable without even knowing it, because they are short phrases or metaphors that demonstrate the lesson. Out of the frying pan and into the fire is a fable phrase. It means that sometimes you trade one kind of trouble for another. Can you make a story about an animal? Maybe it has a meaning or a special phrase. Can you tell a story to your pets and toy animals? Here are even more animal activities that you can have fun with your growing up. You can make a paper plate mask of your favorite animal, maybe even write a special show where you play the character. You can do face paint or makeup. You can do animal print fabric, or even make a tail out of a long sock. You can also put triangle ears on a headband and have fun pretending to be your favorite animal. We have even more stories about animals at the library. Ask your grown-up to help you find Red Riding Hood stories, like Hoodwinked, which is a really silly movie about the fun that Red Riding Hood has with her friends. You can find movies about Beatrix Potter and stories about the Velveteen Rabbit. There's lots of versions of Aesop's Fables, and Hoopla Books, the library app, has many versions. If you're having fun being creative, the Costume Party book and other fun design and costuming books are available at your local library branch. Barnyard Kids and other animal raising books are also available, so you can learn more about some of your favorite animals. Thank you for joining us today. We are so excited to see you soon at the library.